Hi, everybody. It's Terry Wildemann with Freedom Friday in the Awaken the Possibilities group. Today, I have a phenomenal guest. All my guests are phenomenal, but
Mhm.
I absolutely love working with Dr. Dorothy because Dorothy, first of all, she keeps my feet to the fire, and we have so much in common. And today's topic is a real important topic because we are in a situation that we've not seen before. And we're going to be talking about certain pieces to help you navigate the crisis that has become a global
Mhm.
situation. So, Dorothy, I would love for you to please introduce yourself to everyone.
Hi, I'm Dr. Dorothy Martin Neville, and I work with leaders to support them in really living the truth of who they are,
Mhm.
especially women leaders, recognizing how important it is to claim their skills, to claim their abilities, and bring the heart and soul into the corporate world, into their lives and their own companies, if that's what they're doing. But really working with leaders to, especially at this time, to recognize that we're moving into a new paradigm
We
and
are.
to support them in this transition. Leadership is changing. Leadership is so much more about heart and soul. It's so much about what's your why, what's your vision, who do you want to be, what do you want your company to be, and how is it best going to be of service. We need to make money. Companies need to make money in order to sustain themselves. But you can make money while you're living in alignment with what feeds your heart and soul,
Yep.
as well as, other ways of doing business. So it's really about supporting leaders, recognizing who they truly are, what their leadership style truly is versus how they think they're supposed to lead,
Yeah.
and really bringing the heart and soul, bringing spirit back into the world. And working with leaders allows me to transform a culture which impacts thousands of people versus one person.
So, folks, now you know why Dr. Dorothy and I are so connected because in intuitive leadership, I work with leaders and entrepreneurs and help them get off the stress hamster wheel of life and leap into calm, ease, and flow so that they can evolve into unstoppable and resilient intuitive leaders.
Mhm.
So, and how can I forget? And practical business mystics. So
Yes.
at Intuitive Leadership University, we are actually creating practical business mystics, and Dr. Dorothy is one of the faculty members, and she's going to be specifically focusing on women in leadership in the Leadership Wisdom School. So we're really excited
Mhm.
about that. So, what is Freedom Friday all about? Freedom Friday is about talking about specific topics that help you get freedom. And one of the things that's going on right now is a lot of people, especially entrepreneurs and career professionals, feel paralyzed because look at how many people have lost their businesses. Look at how many people have lost their jobs. And the paralysis can is created by fear. And fear is really not the enemy. Paralysis is the enemy.
Right.
And it's triggered by fear if we don't know how to manage it. And before we get into a big talk, what I'd like to say is what if, I'm going to ask a powerful question. What if instead of allowing fear to control us, we learn, and this is a Seth Godin piece, we learn how to dance with the fear and stay flexible and fluid and move with the fear so that the fear becomes, it propels us to where we are meant to be instead of living in the fear and living in paralysis. So, your thoughts about that, Dorothy?
Fear is a part of every one of us. It's only an emotion. It's one of hundreds of emotions we all possess. So consequently, fear is always going to be a part of our life.
Yeah.
The difference is fear can be taken into panic and
Mm,
paralysis,
yeah.
or fear can simply be one of the many emotions we feel at any moment in time. Not
Yeah.
that we spend every minute in fear, but it's part of who we are. So we're going to go there on occasion. Welcome to humanity. But when it's just fear, it's not used as permission to stop. It's not used as permission to run backwards. Fear is simply fear. Now we can use it. I mean, we have to recognize that. Do we use fear? I'm frightened, therefore I want to stop. I want to be frozen in space. Or is it just fear and I take a deep breath? If I need advice, if I need comfort, I turn to someplace and get me ready to go forward, and then I do so. Lots of things we can do with it, but walk with it. Who has the power, you or the fear? That's really where the choice is in. Who's got the power, you or the fear? Yeah.
And fear is an acronym. A lot of us listen to Abraham, who is channeled by Hicks. And Abraham says that has a wonderful acronym for fear. Forgetting everything is all right. And I take it a step further and say, okay, it's forgetting everything is all right. What if we drop the F and it leaves everything is all right? And the acronym then is EAR, which is about listening. We hear things, but are we actually listening? And when we forget that everything is all right, we're often not listening to our intuition. We're not listening to the messages that are coming at us, either through images, through the audio, through how we feel, through what we actually intuitively know. So that acronym, forgetting everything is all right, when we drop that F, it's important. It's so important for us to stay mindful. And that's really the word, mindful and aware of what's going on around us. So, Dorothy, one of the things that help people understand this concept is example. And you and I were talking before the podcast today about characters and movies and such that would make a great example for people to understand how most of us are humble. We come from humble beginnings. No, we all have a superhero inside of us. I don't care who you are. We all have a superhero within.
Yes.
And I was sitting here and Dorothy and I are talking about it. And all of a sudden, and you guys know me and my angels, and they're behind me here, and my chair on its own started to turn around. And I'm like, what the heck is going on here? And I grabbed this little Miss Wonder Woman, who happens to be representative of a lot of what Dorothy feels like and what I feel like. So Dorothy, would you be willing to share the story of Wonder Woman and how she did come from talent, and she had lots and lots of talents, and she had a lot of aspirations, but boy, did those desires come from they evolved and presented themselves in a pretty wild way.
Right. But and those skills are frequently, we have no clue, as she had no clue. It was a wonderful movie. I don't remember, 3, 4, 5 years ago, whenever it came out, to watch the movie, not just read the comic books. But the pictures, the picture was just so exquisite because it made it so human, if you will. That here was this young girl being raised in this island of all women, and idolizing her aunt and her mother, who had done amazing things, who had really become immensely powerful. But they practiced this skill every day. They really worked at owning their power. They worked at providing finesse, providing skill, having greater and greater ability to use it as they chose. All right. So with that, as she modeled them out of nowhere, if you will, I don't believe in accidents or coincidence, but out of nowhere, she felt compelled. She noticed somebody was and felt compelled to help. And thinking that the sweetness of soul was just going to go out there and support somebody, she ended up really recognizing she had the ability to swim like she didn't realize she did. She ended up on the ship with him to go to support him, to support bringing peace, because she wanted to bring peace. So all of her motivation was, how can I do good? How can I support? How can I help? Having no clue that she could, thinking that's what her aunt did, that's what her mother did. She was
Right.
just this little woman, this little child woman with no defined skills until they were called upon.
Yeah. And she had skill sets. I mean, she learned how to fight
Immense
like
skills.
an Amazon.
She was an Amazon. She had immense skills, but didn't recognize them because everybody else's skills looked so much better, so much more developed, so much more refined, that she was just a child in her mind's eye, nowhere near ready
Correct.
until she was called,
Hmm.
until
And the
she
thing is,
was
the people around her, though, were in fear. The people around her, if you remember, her mother, her aunt, all of them were in fear. So, as entrepreneurs, there are a lot of us who are around us who are in fear, who are ready to squash our dreams and desires
in a split second.
in a split
Yeah.
second. And
Yeah.
she
Yeah.
basically said, no, the calling is too strong. The calling is too deep. And she went ahead and did what she needed to do. So, and
Yeah,
the
and one
Lord,
of their fears was really facing the unknown, facing a situation they knew nothing about, going into a situation they couldn't understand. And how many of us have had people who have never done what we choose to do advise us about how impossible it is to do that,
exactly,
advise us that it won't work, advise us that we should pick something safe, something that's been done before, something that's predictable, so they could take us step by step through it.
right,
When instead she jumped into the unknown, and they were frightened for her because they could see she was going to go off into the unknown and do whatever she was called to do. She had no clue what any of that was and was initially overwhelmed. This is a world she understood nothing about.
right.
But inch by inch, step by step, every time she came back to the truth of who she was, she discovered another skill. Every time she came back to the truth of who she was, when she was confronted with another situation that was brand new, she rose to the occasion
And isn't that what we are asking our entrepreneurs to do today?
constantly.
Who you were before COVID-19 is something to look at. It's about taking a mirror and asking yourself, what am I learning? Who am I at this moment? Is what was before COVID-19, is who I was before COVID-19, who I really want to be. And by the way, COVID-19 is a crisis. This is a question that is asked in any kind of crisis, whether it's the loss, some kind of loss in our family, some kind of loss of a business, whatever crisis that happens in your life. It's important to look in the mirror and ask yourself, what are the opportunities? Because with crisis comes opportunity, always. So, and I'm not talking about money. I'm talking about personal growth and
Mhm.
elevation. That's where I'm going. Now, can money come along with that? Only if it's at the bottom. Only if it's at the bottom, not if it's at if money is your priority, it's going to be very short term. But if sharing is your priority, doing good for others is a priority, and then prosperity comes in third. In this global situation, sharing and helping others is key to your success of who it is that you are evolving to. So just last night I was doing a class on I was doing an online talk about branding. Your brand says a lot about you. Does your brand still reflect who you were before this crisis? How are you changing your brand? And how is your brand going to fit in after this crisis? So, those are things in business that we need to ask yourself. Dorothy, take it away.
Well, there's so many things that what you're talking about. I've been speaking about this quite a bit lately since this pandemic started. I haven't been using the word crisis because I think crisis is a mindset. I think this is a challenge. And we have had many, many challenges in our lives. Some of
I
them
like that
bigger.
word better, by the way.
Yeah. Some of the challenges have been much bigger. It may be the death of somebody we love. It may be a divorce. It may be a job loss. But we've all had challenges. big or small. How do you confront challenges is really the question. That's how you're going to confront this pandemic. If I fall apart and collapse and become theoretically powerless and then confront a challenge, that's what I'm going to be doing now. But my question is, the man or woman who existed when this started, is he or she going to be the man or woman that exists when this is over?
Exactly.
All right. This period to me is really Spirit's opportunity being provided to us to stop and catch up with ourselves. Am I the woman I choose to be? Or am I still attempting to be a woman I thought I was supposed to be? Does my business today reflect the person, the man or woman I've become? Does my business value reflect the values I hold today? And if not, who do I want to be when this is over? What do I want my business to look like when this is over? What are the values I want to govern me when this is over? And if I haven't been working from my why, what is my why? And how am I going to live that post pandemic, post shelter in place? Who am I going to be? What is my business going to be? And how am I going to live that? I think that is such an important thing for us today to look at. Because if I know what my vision for my company is when this is over, I know the woman I have to be to make that happen or to allow that to happen, however I'm going to phrase that. Because the woman I am today may not be ready to be in that place. So who do I want to become? Who do I need to become to actualize that vision when this pandemic is over? That now gives me a focus for what strengths do I need to develop? What mindset do I need to develop? What elements of me do I need to develop so that I can be that person who can live that when this whole thing is over? This is a glorious period, really, where we can focus on the day-to-day challenges that come about. Yeah, it's a breeze. I'm used to just getting in my car, going where I want to go and coming back. And now I don't.
Yeah.
All right. Okay, I can spend my day in frustration. I can spend my day feeling powerless. I can spend my day when nobody knows the troubles I've seen. Or I can simply say, this is the moment. Let me use this time.
And this time, and I've been saying this constantly, it's whoops, excuse me.
Bless you.
Sorry about that. This time feels like humanity, and I've said this over and over again in a lot of the podcasts that we've done in the last couple of weeks. It's like humanity asking for a nap. So that we can pause. And NAP stands for nurture, appreciate, and pause. And don't we feel refreshed after we take a nap? Don't we feel better and we get clarity and focus after we take a nap? And when we look at that why piece, and I would love to share with with the people who are listening or watching what we mean when we ask what is our why, because a lot of folks don't quite understand that. And I'm going to share my why I do what I do. And Dorothy, I would love for you to share why you do what you do. My why stems when I was asked that question. The image that I saw was me curled up on a couch when my kids were very, very young. And it was because I was suffering from burnout, being a businesswoman, a military spouse, and a mom. I lost my business. I lost my clients. I lost everything because I couldn't do it all. And I evolved into this business started 32 years ago, and it has evolved forward with all these different learnings and certification. My why took me step by step by step to learning, growing, elevating, expanding. And I still learn, grow, elevate, and expand more and more every single day, because if I'm an entrepreneur who is trying to juggle all of these things, there are so many others who are doing the same thing. So it's about helping them do as I say, not as I did, and do what I'm doing now. And knowing when to let go of things and what to work with. So, as a resilience coach, as a resilience trainer, teaching leaders and entrepreneurs how to improve their decision making, how to step out of the fear, how to step out of the panic,
Right. Yeah.
the hair on fire moments, which a lot of people are in right now. That's why I do what I do, because entrepreneurs are so needed right now. They're the backbone of our country. We've got to create healthy entrepreneurs and practical business mystics. So
Hair on fire is a choice. Hair on fire is a choice. It may not be a conscious choice, but it's a choice.
it is.
It's a challenge. It's an issue that's thrown everybody. But I can get thrown and lay on the floor, or I can get thrown and say, okay, deep breath, sit back up again. What am I going to do with this? I laugh because I truly believe we came here to teach what it is we came here to learn.
I believe.
Right?
I'm right there with you. We teach what we have to learn for ourselves.
Right. And those of us who are out here teaching are simply doing so because we've been learning all along the journey what it is we came here to learn, and now have enough understanding of us and of it that we now can share that wisdom and that knowledge and support others, perhaps if they're ready and willing to go through it with far less angst and much quicker than we did, so that they can now see from our place of wisdom and experience so that they don't have to go through as much. And if we keep on learning, it just keeps on growing. And it becomes, to me, a fun adventure rather than a process to be endured. It's a fun adventure of growth and change and experiences.
It really is the journey, isn't it?
Yeah, it really is a journey. To me, it's been, my journey has been consistently about transitions and shifts in paradigm. And in every transition, there's a whole new way of looking at the world, a whole new way of looking at me in the world and at who I am. So with every transition, none of them have been small. Most of them have been quite large. I was a Catholic nun, and then I became an international airline stewardess. It's a mild shift over there, that different worlds. So when we do these things, we transition, but it's a whole new paradigm, a whole new way of looking at life. And when you do that, it calls you to sit up or stand up so much straighter, to really jump into a world with such a sense of freedom.
And that's what this is about for Freedom Friday.
To me,
I know, by the way, I was a former cop, so I get
the shift, my dad was a cop, so we've got that one going. But it's the piece of jumping into it absolutely free, because you have no preconceived notions about who you are supposed to be or how it's supposed to be done, because this is all brand new to you. Yeah. Because you're following what you know is what you're called to do next.
Exactly.
To me, that is absolute freedom. So every time things seem to fall apart, it's like, oh my God, what new experience is coming next? What's the next great adventure? And not that it's without fear, but it has far more excitement than fear. What's the next adventure?
What do you get to do? What do you get to do? And that is go on a wonderful adventure.
Right. Yeah. Really, that's all about freedom and growth and change. Yeah. And I love that. Yeah.
Well, what a great way to end Freedom Friday today, Dorothy. I appreciate you so very, very much. I thank you for playing with me in the Freedom Friday Sandbox. Yeah. And giving some insights to the Awaken the Possibilities audience. Folks, you can reach Dr. Dorothy at
AskDrDorothy.com or Dorothy at askdrdorothy.com. You know, and it's truly, to me, we all have different things that motivate us. For me, freedom. Anything that makes me more free is something I want to know more about. The more we can let go of, the
Mm-hmm.
more we get to expand and evolve. And that's what a great name for Freedom Fridays, because that's really, the more we let go of, the more freedom, the more we get to evolve and expand our energetic footprint.
And that's my number one value is freedom.
Yeah.
My absolute number one value is freedom, because without freedom, and the second value is health. Without freedom, without your health, well, you can have the freedom in your mind,
Yeah.
but I love the idea of the entrepreneur who can fly. Like my crone name is Hawk Mother. And I love being able to fly 30,000 feet up and get the lay of the land and see everything that's going on, and then be able to land on Mother Earth and see what is right around me, and have the freedom of being able to integrate it all together, because I have information from both
Right.
perspectives.
Yeah.
And that freedom is so huge. And that's what we do at Intuitive Leadership University. We teach people how to see things from way above and how to see things at sea level. So
And
on
that's
that
so
note,
important, seeing it from the big picture, but being
mhm,
so grounded you can deal with the day-to-day realities.
absolutely.
Yeah.
So folks, thank you so very much for being here today. And we will see you again next time, next Friday at 3 p.m. for Freedom Friday in the Awaken the Possibilities podcast. Take care. Bye bye.